Hey there, welcome back to the channel. Imagine this. You've been giving your all to someone, your energy, your time, your emotions. Then, one day they vanish. No goodbye, no explanation, just silence. You're left staring at your phone, waiting for a message that never comes, replaying every moment in your head, searching for answers. What did you do wrong? Could you have said or done something differently? The silence feels like a punishment, and the weight of it begins to crush your spirit. But here's a truth many overlooks. Silence isn't just an absence of words. It's often a tactic, a power move. When someone goes silent, they might be testing your boundaries or trying to provoke a reaction. They expect you to reach out, to chase, to beg for clarity. It's their way of holding control over the situation, leaving you emotionally stranded while they stand unaffected. It's manipulative, yes, but it's also revealing. Their silence shows more about them than it does about you. It exposes a lack of emotional maturity and the inability to communicate effectively. They want you to feel powerless. But here's the twist. You don't have to give them that power. What if, instead of reacting to their silence with panic, you responded with silence of your own? This isn't about playing games or seeking revenge. It's about reclaiming your peace and dignity. By choosing silence, you shift the balance of power. You're no longer the person waiting anxiously for their message. You become the person who recognizes your own worth and refuses to engage in their toxic behavior. Silence, when used intentionally, is incredibly powerful. It's a statement that says, "I don't need to explain myself to you. My worth isn't tied to your validation." It allows you to detach emotionally and refocus your energy on yourself. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Your silence isn't about hurting them. It's about protecting your mental well-being. It's about setting boundaries and choosing yourself over the chaos they bring. Choosing silence doesn't mean suppressing your feelings. It means acknowledging them and deciding not to act out of impulse. It's about understanding that not every action requires a reaction. Some battles are best won by stepping away. When you stop chasing, something remarkable happens. Their silence begins to unravel. They start to wonder why you're not responding, why you're not playing the role they expected. In many cases, their own insecurities surface. They realize they can no longer control you, and that realization often leaves them confused and vulnerable. But here's the key. Don't let their confusion pull you back into the cycle. Their return, if it happens, isn't always about reconciling. It's often about regaining the control they lost. Stay rooted in your strength. Remember, their silence was never about your worth. This is your moment to reclaim your power. Silence is your armor, your boundary, your peace. Use it wisely, not to hurt, but to heal. Today, we'll uncover 7 powerful Stoic ways why silence is your greatest strength, how it disarms their behavior, and how Stoicism can help you regain control over your emotions. So before we dive in, I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. Silence is strength. To declare that you won't let anyone's silence define your value. You're in control of your own emotions. Let's get started. Number 1. Silence creates an unseen storm in their mind. When someone decides to ignore you, they often assume you'll react predictably, calling, texting, or questioning their behavior. But when you respond with silence, it challenges everything they thought they understood about you. Your silence isn't just a lack of response, it's an active decision to withhold the reaction they expect. Silence is unsettling because it leaves gaps. The person who ignored you starts to fill those gaps with their own thoughts. It's human nature to seek closure, but when closure isn't provided, the mind begins to spiral. Questions like, have I pushed them away? Or, did I misjudge their importance in my life? Creep in, creating an inner storm they can't easily escape. When someone expects you to react and you don't, it leaves an emotional void. Imagine ignoring someone and being certain they'd chase after you, only to find that they don't. That absence feels like a missing piece in their story, an unexpected silence that forces them to confront their own actions. Your decision to stay silent isn't passive, it's a deliberate choice to protect your emotional boundaries. They're left to grapple with their assumptions, replaying their decisions, and wondering what went wrong. It's not about punishing them, it's about prioritizing yourself and refusing to feed their need for control. Your silence shifts the dynamic. By not reacting, you're no longer playing their game. Instead, you're showing them that your emotional stability isn't dependent on their acknowledgement. This shift forces them to reconsider their position in your life, often leading to self-reflection, or, at the very least, discomfort. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Silence is an embodiment of this wisdom. It's the strength to control your response, to choose peace over conflict, and to let your actions, or lack thereof, speak louder than words. When you remain quiet, you're teaching them that your self-worth doesn't depend on their approval. You're showing them that your value isn't diminished by their absence. Over time, this lesson often becomes clear. Your silence carries more weight than any argument or confrontation could. Drop this affirmation in the comments, "Silence is my power," to remind yourself that you don't need anyone's validation to know your worth. Stand firm, stay silent, and let them learn the weight of your absence. Number 2, your silence protects your worth. When someone dismisses your feelings or withdraws, it's easy to feel tempted to defend yourself or fight for their attention. But this reaction often chips away at your self-worth. Silence, however, flips the script. It shields your dignity and asserts your inner strength, showing the world and yourself that your value doesn't hinge on their recognition. Reacting emotionally can inadvertently hand over control of your feelings. It allows the other person to determine how you feel based on their actions or inactions. Silence, on the other hand, keeps the balance in your favor. It's not about ignoring them, it's about prioritizing yourself. When you refuse to react to neglect or indifference, you remind yourself and them that your worth isn't defined by their validation. Choosing silence doesn't mean you're weak or indifferent. It shows you have the self-discipline to step back and protect your mental and emotional health. Instead of giving energy to someone who isn't reciprocating, you redirect that energy inward toward healing, self-reflection, and growth. Consider this: someone who mistreats you may expect you to beg for answers or validation. But when you stay calm and composed, they're forced to confront the absence of your reaction. This can often lead them to reflect on their behavior in ways they wouldn't have if you had reacted. As Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." Silence ensures that your time and energy are spent on what truly matters, yourself and the relationships that uplift you. It protects your boundaries, affirming that you will not engage with actions or people that diminish your sense of self. Drop this affirmation in the comments. Silence protects my worth. To claim your power and remind yourself that true strength lies in prioritizing your peace. Let your silence reflect your self-respect, and let your peace become your loudest message. Keep growing. You're worth it. Number 3. It forces them to confront their actions. Silence has a way of reflecting reality back at people. When you choose not to engage with someone who has wronged you, they're left to face their behavior without distraction. Without your reaction to deflect the blame onto, they are confronted with the weight of their choices and the impact of their actions. When you refuse to respond, the narrative they created to justify their behavior begins to crumble. They can no longer paint themselves as the victim or you as the aggressor. Instead, they must grapple with the truth. It's not an easy realization for them. Accountability rarely is, but it's a necessary one. Take, for instance, someone who repeatedly lets you down with broken promises. When you stop explaining why their actions hurt or stop asking for change, they lose the opportunity to dodge the issue. Your silence removes the noise, leaving them alone with the consequences of their actions. Your silence isn't passive, it's deliberate. It's an act of reclaiming power, ensuring that your energy is not wasted on futile arguments or empty justifications. This doesn't mean you condone their actions, it simply means you're prioritizing your peace over their drama. Stoic philosophy teaches us to control what we can, our reactions, and to let go of what we can't, their behavior. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." By staying silent, you exercise control over your emotions, while leaving them to deal with theirs. Drop this affirmation in the comments. Silence reflects strength, to remind yourself that you don't need to fight every battle. Let your silence hold them accountable, and let your peace guide you forward. Stay focused on your growth. You're worth the effort. Number 4. Silence reveals their true intentions. Silence is more than a response, it's a powerful filter. When you stop investing time and energy into someone who's ignoring or mistreating you, their real motives come to the surface. Without your constant presence, they are forced to either step up or step away. And either outcome is a revelation. When people are used to your effort, your silence disrupts their comfort. Genuine connections thrive on mutual care and respect. If someone values you, your absence will inspire them to reflect and reach out. But if their presence in your life was self-serving, your silence will expose their lack of concern. Take the example of a co-worker who leaned on you for help with every project. When they distance themselves after getting what they need, it's natural to feel used. But instead of confronting them, you choose silence. You stop offering assistance. In this void, their true intentions emerge. They were never invested in you. They were invested in what you could do for them. It's not easy to withdraw when emotions are involved. You might feel tempted to confront them, to demand answers, or to salvage the relationship. But stepping back shows strength and self-respect. It forces them to decide whether they want to be in your life because of who you are, not because of what you offer. As Seneca observed, "As long as you live, keep learning how to live." Silence is a tool for learning. It teaches you to discern between those who truly care and those who only take. It also helps you grow stronger by recognizing when to let go. Drop this affirmation in the comments. Silence is clarity. To remind yourself that true intentions are revealed in the absence of effort. Trust the process. Those who care will stay, and those who don't will make room for better connections in your life. Keep growing and valuing your peace. You deserve it. Number 5. Silence breaks their pattern of control. Silence is a powerful tool that dismantles manipulation. Ignoring someone or withdrawing affection is often a calculated move, a way to keep you in emotional turmoil, doubting yourself, and chasing validation. But when you respond with silence, you disrupt their strategy and reclaim control over your emotions. Picture a toxic ex who thrives on your reactions. They ignore your calls or texts, knowing it will trigger frustration or sadness. Each time you respond with an emotional outburst or desperate plea, they tighten their grip on your feelings. But this time, you choose silence. You stop reaching out. You stop giving them the power to dictate your mood. The silence unsettles them because it means they've lost their ability to control you. Suddenly the balance shifts. You're no longer the one waiting. They are. Your silence isn't about ignoring them out of spite. It's about refusing to engage in their manipulative patterns. By not reacting, you're setting a boundary. You're saying, "You can't toy with my emotions anymore." This is an act of self-preservation, not malice. Control thrives on predictability. When they can predict your reactions, they maintain control. But when you break that cycle, they're left questioning their power over you. They may try harder to provoke you, but as long as you remain grounded, their efforts will fail. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Your silence is a testament to this wisdom. It shows that you control your reactions, not the person trying to manipulate you. Drop this affirmation in the comments. "I am in control," to remind yourself that your emotions belong to you, not to those who seek to manipulate them. By choosing silence, you reclaim your peace and demonstrate that your strength comes from within. Keep protecting your energy. You are worth it. Number 6. Silence allows you to heal and reflect. Silence, though often uncomfortable, is a sanctuary for healing. When someone ignores you, it's natural to feel hurt, confused, or even angry. Your thoughts might spiral, wondering why they distanced themselves or what you could have done differently. But here's the truth. Chasing their validation only deepens the wound. Instead, silence becomes your refuge, a moment to step back and reclaim your power. When you stop obsessing over their silence, you create space for yourself. Think of it as hitting the pause button in a chaotic situation. Instead of seeking answers from them, you turn inward. Ask yourself, what are my needs right now? How can I nurture my happiness without external validation? Perhaps it's rekindling a lost passion, painting, writing, or exploring nature. Maybe it's reconnecting with supportive friends who remind you of your worth. Silence allows you to rediscover what makes you feel alive, independent of anyone else's approval. Imagine silence as a deep breath after a storm. It's your chance to process the hurt, let go of resentment, and focus on your well-being. Healing isn't about forgetting what happened, it's about releasing the hold it has on you. When you stop giving energy to the one who hurt you, you start pouring that energy into yourself. Consider a time you felt abandoned by someone close. Their absence consumed your thoughts, leaving you emotionally drained. But the moment you decided to focus on self-care, reading, exercising, or meditating, you felt lighter. Your silence wasn't passive, it was an active step toward healing. As Seneca once said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Silence allows you to step out of your overthinking mind and into the present moment. It's here that true healing begins, not by dwelling on their actions, but by investing in your own growth. Drop this affirmation in the comments, "My healing matters," to remind yourself that prioritizing your peace isn't selfish. It's essential. Let your silence guide you toward reflection, self-love, and the understanding that your happiness doesn't depend on anyone but you. Keep healing. You're stronger than you think. Number 7. Silence becomes your loudest answer. They say actions speak louder than words, but sometimes it's the absence of action that screams the loudest. Silence isn't passive, it's powerful. It's not about ignoring someone, it's about choosing not to waste your energy where it's not respected. When someone repeatedly disregards your words, it's tempting to explain yourself, to try one more time to make them understand. But sometimes your words fall on deaf ears. That's when silence becomes your strongest statement. It's not about giving up. It's about recognizing that your value doesn't depend on their acknowledgement. Imagine this scenario. You've been pouring your heart into saving a relationship, but the other person doesn't reciprocate. They dismiss your efforts, ignore your feelings, and take your presence for granted. After countless attempts to bridge the gap, you stop. You walk away, not in anger, but in quiet self-respect. Your silence becomes a mirror, reflecting their disregard back at them. A bold declaration. Silence says what words cannot. I won't beg for respect. I deserve to be heard. I value my peace over your indifference. Your silence isn't empty. It's full of meaning. It forces them to sit with the void you leave behind, to confront the impact of their actions without the comfort of your explanations. When you stop chasing, they're left with the reality of what they've lost. It's not about revenge or playing games. It's about reclaiming your dignity. Silence is your way of saying, I've tried, but I won't try at the expense of my self-worth. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Silence is the embodiment of this wisdom. Instead of arguing for your worth, live it. Let your actions, or lack thereof, speak volumes. So friends, when someone ignores you, choose silence, not as a tactic, but as a testament to your strength. Your silence isn't weakness, it's wisdom, a way to protect your peace and reclaim your power. Have you ever faced a moment where silence was your best response? Share your experience in the comments. I'd love to hear how you found strength in stillness. And if this video inspired you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Let's grow together, navigating life's challenges with clarity and resilience. Remember, your worth is non-negotiable, and silence can be your loudest declaration of it.